Hey guys, it's Sebastian here. Haven't made a video in a while, and just want to get back into YouTube and just make a video for you guys and talk about a topic that I think is quite important. I would say the topic being, should graphic designers learn how to code? And I want to talk about this and answer it based on my own experiences and my own opinions. And if you're wondering about my background, I am a graphic designer and both a web developer, kind of a crossbreed or mix. I studied graphic design in college for about 5 years, and then I also studied web development a little bit in college, but mostly learned it through self-study, and I picked it up on my own. And back when I was doing the videos originally on YouTube, like my first few playlists, I was getting into HTML and CSS, and I kind of really developed my skills in that area. And then I worked on front end, and also I started getting a little bit into back end. So I was learning a bit of PHP. Just learned, about databases. I used a few like SQL queries here and there, SQL queries, just to interact with databases. And what else I was doing? I was just trying to. Now I'm trying to learn JavaScript a little bit more in depth. So once I got a handle of PHP and like the coding syntax, and I got a understanding of like concepts behind PHP such as variables, strings, booleans, and all that. I started to get more into JavaScript now, and I also code and develop websites in WordPress. So anyway, that's a little bit about my background as far as being a developer and also being a graphic designer coming out of college. So should graphic designers learn how to code? And my simple answer to this is a little bit. I think like it's not a yes or no answer, and I don't think that I think that like it wouldn't be so much beneficial for graphic designers to really get very far into coding and go into JavaScript or PHP, but just to learn just the very basics of HTML5 and CSS3 as a very fundamental programming languages. Yeah, it might be a little bit beneficial, and just to understand maybe what a developer might have to go through working on the front end. But I think a more important topic for graphic designers to get into is probably learning about the structure of how a website works, and being able to really communicate well with developers about how that structure can be really handled or implemented very well. So for instance, there's such platforms out there called a CMS, meaning they're a content management system. So with WordPress being out there, and WordPress now I believe covers about like 28% of the internet. This is a content management system that allows the website to be built and coded from scratch or from a template or from a theme, or it could be modified or it could be built different ways. And what a CMS allows the end user, for your clients, to do is that the websites can be built with original design and custom development to a certain extent, that is kind of working within a platform such as WordPress, for instance. And it allows a business owner or the end user to manage that website with that CMS platform. So different CMSs, and again, CMS stands for Content Management Systems. Different CMSs could be like WordPress or Joomla or Drupal, and they're very handy. They allow developers and designers to build websites, and for business owners to just manage them. And I think it's a very good in between using something like a page builder, such as maybe Weebly or Wix, which is strictly a page builder that people could use and build websites using drag and drop methods. And a CMS is somewhere in between, where it's not a website that is purely maybe coded from scratch, but it's using a system that allows for better management of the website. So it's built using this platform, and then at the end, once it's built, the end user could manage the website. Now, the reason I mentioned CMSs is because most websites nowadays are built using a CMS, and I would say it would be very beneficial for a graphic designer to learn how these CMSs work and how they operate and kind of the underlying structure behind these CMSs. I think this is actually quite important for graphic designers to be aware of when they're designing the website, so that when they design them, they could use these, they could align their designs with the structure of the CMS. And I think the developers would be very happy if designers can do this in conjunction with aligning their design with the structure of the CMS, and it'll make the developer's job a lot easier, to really implement all that code and to get that functionality working as it should. So, yeah, I mean, and as far as coding, maybe just like the basic HTML5 and CSS3 would be quite beneficial, but beyond that, just leave that to the developers. I think as a graphic designer, it'd be more beneficial for your time to really, I think, learn drawing and really, really hone in on the artistic side of the graphic design. So really maybe look into like logo design or icon design, or like really something custom made, something really artistic and really compelling as a visual graphic. Like focus your attention on that, but with coding, learn maybe HTML5 and CSS3. That's where it could become quite beneficial. That's what we learned in college. Even in our graphic design program, we were learning HTML5 and CSS3, and even a little bit of Jekyll at the time. And what would be really beneficial for a graphic designer to learn is the structure of a CMS. Now, before I just end this video, let me just show you what I mean by a structure of a CMS. And I'll just use one CMS in particular called WordPress. There's others, there's the Shopify. If you're in Ottawa, Shopify is a popular CMS for e-commerce. There's also Craft CMS, but we'll just stick to WordPress. Now, there is something called here the WordPress template hierarchy. So I'll just look this up. So WordPress template hierarchy. I think I spelled that correctly. Nice. Okay, so and I usually like to go to the visualization resource. Now, this hierarchy is, this may take a little bit of time to get your head wrapped around, but this essentially is the whole templating structure of WordPress when you're building custom themes. Now, this would require a developer to know PHP in order to do this, and PHP is a back-end programming language that deals with the server, and it's a little bit more complex than your traditional HTML5 and CSS3. But if a graphic designer can just at least get their head wrapped around, the hierarchy and the structure of a WordPress site, and at least understand, categories or tags or pages and posts, and just learn like a little bit how WordPress works, and to be more of a power user or something like this, so that they can understand the kind of inner workings of WordPress and be able to at least communicate well with a developer who's going to build the WordPress website. This would be very, very beneficial for a graphic designer to learn. And this is a good place to start. It's with the WordPress template hierarchy. So learn a little bit about the structure, and you may not have to learn like how to program with using this structure, but at least understand how the template hierarchy works, at least understand how the structure works in WordPress. And most sites now for business owners are built with WordPress. So again, this would be quite valuable to learn, I would say. All right, so thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video useful. And that's just my take on whether graphic designers should learn how to code. Did a little bit of deviated a little bit away from the question, but that's my take on it. That's my answer. So hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Ciao.